define grit as passion and perseverance for very long-term goals. So working very hard, but most important, I think, given the cultural context, also loving what you do. I mean, thinking about it all the time because you want to think about it and even dreaming about it. I think the passion is just as important as the perseverance. So when they're 9 years old, 10 years old, before you say, okay, you know, you have to study really hard, you have to work, you have to practice, I think we should be watching for the development of passion. That, of course, needs to have hard work with it, but actually when you study people who are really world class at what they do, usually they spend a period of years when they are just falling in love with something. In fact, actually some scientists like to call it a romance period. And in that period, you know, it's not about like, okay, work hard, you know, it's really about like just developing a lifelong love for that thing. So when you ask, okay, well, how do you develop grit? The first thing I would say is look for passion before you look for perseverance. There are also rituals. The rituals have the feature of increasing people's identity, being of the culture, but also sometimes they directly enhance grit. So for example, at the Seattle Seahawks, this coach Pete Carroll, you know, we had a little bit of this conversation. Some of the rituals at that football team, for example, on Mondays, they have a ritual called Tell the Truth Monday. That means they look at the film of the last game, because usually the football games are played on the weekend, and they look for all their mistakes, right? That's part of grit, is to look for your weaknesses and in a very positive, optimistic way say, oh, okay, great, I saw 2 mistakes I made. Awesome, I'm gonna work on them next week. That's a ritual that they have at that football team. They don't have it at other teams. That builds identity and it builds grit. That's one thing I think American culture does very well, is to really embrace mistakes and say like, awesome, 9 out of 10 things that I try are gonna not work. That's great. 1 out of 10 is gonna be different and new. And that I think is part of grit as well.